Good evening. Welcome to tonight's meeting of the Nashua Board of Education's Human Resources Committee at the Nashua High School Boardroom. It is the 27th of October, and it's 5:34. And I'm calling the meeting to order, and Ms. Raymond will begin with a roll call for attendance.
Thank you. Ms. Gilio?
Here.
Mr. Johnson?
Here.
I'm here. We have Dr. Andrade. We have Mr. Gray. And we have Mr. Baus.
Okay. So, Mr. Baus, would you like to tell us about the HR update this week?
Certainly. Again, I'm happy to announce as of this date that number of total openings is going down. So that is definitely a great thing to report. So the total openings are 54 and a half total openings. Teacher openings, we have a total of 21 and a half. If you break it down, elementary, there's 10, middle school, there's 6, and there's 5 and a half at the high school. We're still looking for 4 school psychologists, 5 speech language pathologists. Paras, we have 48 openings. Of those 48 openings, we have contractors filling every single one of them. So we are staffed para-wise with contractors. Food service, we have 7 positions open. Plan ops, we have 14, 12 being crossing guards. So the big number there is the 2 custodians that are the big need for that. Administration, we have 2 open positions, the out-of-district coordinator and the junior district accountant, which I believe we're starting interviews within the next couple weeks for that. And then we have 1 secretary opening that just came up at Mount Pleasant.
I do have a question. So the 48 paras that are being filled with a contractor, do you have the number of how many paras are paras that aren't contracted, that are part of our employees?
I don't have that off the top of my head, but I can get that for you.
Next meeting, maybe?
Yep, definitely.
Okay, that would be great. I'm just curious as to how that balances out. Thank
It
you.
was 327, right?
Oh,
That's FTEs. So if we're talking FTEs, yeah, it's 327, but people-wise, I guess.
wait a minute. Is it 327 or not?
Yeah, 327, but it could be, 330 people that fill the 327 FTEs.
Okay.
Okay.
So
That does not include the 48 that are
Correct.
hired through the agency. Okay, thank you. Anyone else have a question?
yes, I'm still confused by this. So we have 327 total positions or 327 current
Employees that work for the
Employees.
Nashua School District,
that are
paraeducators.
paraeducators. And
Can I just
then,
clarify real quick? Sorry. So as of 10:15, if we're going to be throwing out actual numbers.
Oh,
As of 10:15, it was actually 337.63 FTEs.
7. Okay.
Just remember, all of this changes like every single day. So that's why I'm giving a snapshot in time as of 10:15.
Gotcha. So as of that day, we had, I'm going to call it 330-ish full-time filled positions with paras, and we have 48 additional positions that we don't have an in-district employee filling, and we're using a contractor.
Correct.
Okay. And then, my question is always, do we have any IEPs where kids' needs are going unmet because we weren't able to get a full-time employee, part-time employee, or a contractor?
Not due to the shortage of paras. We do have other intensive needs teacher positions that are open that might,
Impact.
relay not getting an IEP done, but para-wise, not meeting IEPs is not through the para-educators.
Okay. All right, and then I'll ask more because I know we have a big update tonight at our next meeting. Don't worry, I have notes.
any other questions? Okay, then let's take a look at tonight's personnel recommendation, singular, I believe. Are there any questions?
I actually have a question. It's another systemic question. So I had pulled up last week's agenda. Wait, where is it? This is this week's. So last week's agenda, and it had 60-something openings, 65 and a half openings. And this time, or the last meeting one, and this time it has 54 openings, but we only have one personnel recommendation on tonight's. Is that because the other ones were included in the personnel recommendations of the prior week?
Nope. I think if you look at the old HR data, the teacher positions only went down one position. So the other positions came from other,
From
of the-
not, okay,
not teacher roles.
not teacher, got it. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any questions on the nomination on tonight's personnel recommendations? Then I make a motion that we accept tonight's personnel recommendations.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. And then we're having a discussion tonight on the nomination cover sheet, and I'm going to leave it up to someone on the other side of the room to kind of run that.
Before we jump over there, last board meeting, we introduced Andrea Fall.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure if you wanted to
Oh,
dive
yeah,
into
this
that
would be a
before we go
good
into
time
it.
for her to come. We would love to hear from you. We're happy to approve you at the last meeting, but we would love to hear from you personally. We're glad you could make it.
Thanks.
And usually, do you want to tell us a little bit about how you came to come to Nashua?
No.
In this role? No? Okay. Did a spaceship drop you off on the lawn?
Yep. Sure. It's been a very long process. I applied, I think, in July, maybe? Or we started the process in July? It feels like COVID. Yeah. It was, yeah. So I had been perusing, as I often do. There are two things that I like to look at. Travel, I like always, I like to, for whatever reason, I like to imagine myself on a cruise ship somewhere in the Caribbean or whatever. And I'm just always curious as to what's happening in the world of education. Not just, trends, but also what districts are hiring and why and what that looks like. And I also do that because I am constantly trying to grow and learn. And I saw the middle school coordinator position and applied. And I don't know why I was so shocked, but Carrie, I mean, it was very straightforward, where we'd like you to come in for an interview. And I was like, wait a minute, I can't do that day. So that part was phenomenal. We hit it off right away. And in speaking with Carrie, I felt like there was a place for me here and that I would be able to do a lot of good. I will be honest and tell you that the process with the DOE is very daunting. But I felt like it was worth it. And Carrie helped carry me on that boat, and Mike as well. So I started feels like years ago, but 7 days ago. And I feel like we have a great team and wonderful students. I really love being housed in McCarthy, and my door is open. And I was so surprised and also pleasantly shocked at the number of people who have already come in to introduce themselves or bring some challenges my way to see if we could figure out some things and problem solve. So here I am.
Anyone have any questions for her? Mrs. Raymond? She usually has questions. Did we turn on the machine? Oh, we did. Okay, thank you.
Welcome. I'm so glad that you're here, and thank you for taking time out of your evening to come. We like to have people at the assistant principal level and above to the school board meeting so that the community can see them, and be able to say, like, here's our new person, and get to know them. So I usually ask people about discipline and stuff, but that's not really your role. So I guess my question is twofold. One, why Nashua? What appeals to you about Nashua? And two, what do you envision, how do you envision being able to support our staff in the middle school moving forward?
Why Nashua? So for the past 4 years, I have in my career been in a place or places that have lent me a great deal of knowledge and have not been quite so diverse, which was challenging and also very rewarding. And in my heart, I feel that I need to be where there are students who need me. That's it. So that's why. Does that make sense? Do you need more clarification?
No, that's an acceptable answer. I like it. Well done.
Okay. And what was your second?
So the second question was, how do you envision this role supporting our special education teachers and students in the 3 middle schools?
Sure. I would say that this role actually extends beyond special education. In order to have a well-running machine, you have to be able to communicate, facilitate, and implement. And that's what I see this role as, like the part of the cog that keeps those things running well, not just between the special educators and the head teacher and the parents and with the students, but also the general educators who also have to be informed, that don't feel like they're outsiders. They're not special education students. They're Nashua School District students, and all of us should be working together to make sure that's the case.
Okay, I love that.
So when I had the opportunity to first interact with Andrea, I knew she was the perfect fit. And just as you said, I think we made that connection right away. And then she came in, she interviewed, and everyone on the interview committee felt the same thing. The minute that she walked out of the door, it was like she's going to be such a dynamic, positive influence for the district. She's been kind to the challenges in the process of getting her certification transferred over from one state to the other. There were many phone calls that I got. It was like, I'm coming, I promise, please don't think that I don't want to be there. I'm like, you're our person. Like, it was, we understand that this is going to be a challenge, and I'm so thankful that you're aboard. And I was like, I knew the minute that she stepped in and she started asking some of the questions that she asked, that just confirmed my belief that she would be a wonderful addition to the staff.
Yeah, New Hampshire doesn't work well with other states when it comes to moving certifications. Just
Any other questions? Do you have some questions, Mr. Johnson?
No questions. I'm just looking over it. I mean, very impressed, with your, and it is, looking at this and saying, how could they have any problems getting you certified over it? Because you
That's
have a
what I
vast
said.
experience.
So that's an off-the-record conversation.
Right, exactly.
It's on the record now.
Yeah.
But yeah, welcome. Thank you.
Ms. Gilio, if I can just say, I had the opportunity, last week we had a nice conversation. I think we got saved by the bell, or you got saved by the bell at the end of the day with a dismissal. But I think where Andrea is bringing a lot, and I think Carrie just mentioned, she asked a lot of questions. So in our meeting or so with Mr. Posker and Dr. Esparza, she was asking all the right questions. And so whether we're looking at the number of para-FTEs or we're looking at special education, her intellectual curiosity was right where it needed to be, and she wasn't hesitant to have the courageous conversation. So I think we found the right person at the right time to engage in conversations and ask, why are we doing that, other than what's the data and then what's our next steps. And she outlined the 3 important steps she would take. So really looking forward to working with her and having her part of the team.
On behalf of the board, we welcome you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that's great. Thank you for coming tonight and talking with us. Okay, next, do we want to, we talked about the personnel recommendations, so Mr. Baus, is it you who wants to talk about the nomination cover sheet, or are we all going to just join in, or how do you want to do this?
Yeah, certainly. I could definitely review it. So I did, basically, I really want to make sure that you guys get what you need out of it, and at the same time not violate anybody's personal information or references that might be on there, or things of that nature. But I did reach out to several other school districts and what they provide to their boards, and it's very minimal and generic. Basically, really the main things are when they're starting, their salary, the position. It kind of goes with the salary, but like the step that they're on. But like providing GPA from somebody that might have graduated, 40 years ago, I really don't think is relevant. Also, like date of final interview, I also don't think is very relevant. Little things like that. It also cleans it up on the data entry where our staff has to do all of this and put everything together.
Right.
So to kind of get some time back there to kind of do other things that will make a meaningful difference, I think will be a big step forward in the long run. But just kind of going through, I feel like nowadays, like numbered interview, typically we barely see over 3. So I don't know if, that really needs to be in there. Maybe it does. I know back in the day we had a policy where we had to do 5, but as you know, we don't get 5 candidates for positions anymore. So I think that's kind of outdated. So I feel like, kind of just going through, I feel like we don't need that.
Do we still have that policy on the books?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay.
And
If we did, I should pull it so we can fix it.
yeah, it's not a Board of Ed policy.
Okay.
I believe it would be a behind the scenes HR policy, if anything. I guess interviewers, I'm not really sure why we need to display who the interviewers on the team were. I feel like it has to get approved by all of the people sitting next to me anyways, so it all has been blessed by them. So
I think I can answer that question. There was a time in Nashua's history, and certainly not in the last decade, where allegations of nepotism and inappropriate hiring flew more often than they should. And so I think that the board had wanted to know who was doing the interviews to make sure that we weren't always hiring, someone's brother or cousin or whatever. In my 8 years on the board, I have not had a circumstance where someone has not recused themselves if they had any connection to an applicant. Like, I just haven't seen it. But I assume that is probably why. It's not information that I have a strong feeling about.
yeah, and I think a lot of these are from past practices that now maybe in the last decade or so don't exist, which kind of we want to be able to. It's always good to revamp your policies, every 2 to 5 years, anyways. So just to kind of make sure we're staying with the relevant times. I would love to come back at the next board meeting with the proposal on moving forward. This is how I think we should suggest it. I can give it to you guys ahead of time. We can do it out together to see, what you guys want, what you think should we add, and then kind of just make it a little bit more efficient.
Yeah, I think, and we spoke about this a little bit last time, I think the information that I'm personally curious about is what their degree is in, especially if it's something that is not education related and then they've come to education later in life, because, we all have interesting paths. I want to know if they're certified or if they're an alternate plan, and that we have a plan for that, right? Like, those are the things that
That could be just a yes/no checkbox, correct?
I think it is now, right? No, it says New Hampshire certification or licensing era. Yeah, for me, just to be able to do my due diligence, to be able to say to the public, yes, we ask them to verify that this person is on a certification track or already has the certification, which you're required to do anyways, but this provides a paper trail for the board.
Right.
And then the salary placement on the scale is important to us.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, no, and I would suggest moving forward, the date that they start, the name, the position, and the salary. And then what the supporting documents that we could provide, which would answer your question, would be a resume.
But I don't,
And I think those are the only things that you guys really
right.
question.
I would just say, I like to look at the resume for assistant principal and above. But for a teacher, when we have 82 teachers that we've hired over a summer, I don't want to review 82 resumes. I want you to have reviewed 82 resumes and checked the box and told me this person has a bachelor's of science in, chemistry, and now they're teaching chemistry or whatever. That's really, I don't want their resume. If it's easier for you to give us their resumes, that's fine. But it's more information that I have to make sure that I carefully delete so that I don't have people's personal information in my house.
Yep, nope, that makes total sense. So I guess on the flip side, why would you guys need to know like what their degree was in, especially if it was say 10 years ago or 40 years ago?
I think it's just the path, like how they, getting an idea of how they came to education, from what they started to where they are.
But some of the ones I feel like we're hiring, they don't have, they've come to education like brand new. Like I was an automotive mechanic for 30 years and now I'm teaching automotive.
Right, we
Well,
want to
that's
know
a
that.
connected, right, that shows the,
connected.
right. If you were an automotive mechanic and now you're
But
going
that,
to teach
let's
it.
say that person doesn't have a degree. You wouldn't know that person was an automotive mechanic for 30 years.
Yeah, but I would want you to put that on the sheet.
Right, that would be the information given.
Well, I guess,
That's the
but
path.
if they're certified in the state of New Hampshire to teach automotive, wouldn't that be enough?
But I think that, and maybe we're not seeing it as much anymore, but when it comes to those difficult to fill positions like automotive, some of our CTE classes, science and mathematics, frequently people are coming in on an alternative certification track.
I would say
Or-
that's about every position
Right,
nowadays.
or they haven't been certified yet if it's a new teacher. So
But
we're
we-
not seeing the check, yes, they are already certified. We're seeing the check, yes, we're going to work with them to help them get it within the timeline that's
And
prescribed.
I would just say that's incorrect because we don't hire anybody that's not already certified or on an alternative plan, which to me is a certification pathway.
Right, that's what I'm talking, pathway, right, which is not a certification yet. It's we can get there, but if they don't, and we have had people in the past not make it, and we have been delayed in noticing that in the past, and that's within the last decade. I would say even within the last, maybe not since COVID, but around COVID, we've found that people were continuing to teach having never completed that alternative pathway. And so I think
But I don't know if that comes back to the board to say.
it shouldn't, like,
That's why I don't see the ticks and ties to.
I'm just curious as to how long they have, if they're getting certified alternately. Like, is it the same time frame for everyone? So they apply and then they have like 2 years, or they have however, I don't know how that
Typically,
works.
all site-based learning plans are 3 years. But once you get on a site-based learning plan, you have X amount of days to get on an intern license. And that intern license is a license to teach.
Okay. So that's before the alternative certification is completed.
So your alternative certification leads you to the intern license.
Oh, okay.
And then your intern license basically allows you to get your beginner educator license thereafter.
Okay,
And those are all typically 3 years.
okay. I didn't know what that time frame was.
so I guess my question would be, what is our legal obligation for oversight? And I'm trying to pull up the Ed 303s right now. Because if the Ed 303 says that I have to approve all of the superintendent's recommendations, then I want some
So that was,
documentation of why I'm saying yes or no.
that was going to be my recommendation. So just, if we can charge, or I can charge Mr. Bouse to bring a couple examples from different districts. And then again, look at the RSAs and Ed 306 of what is the purview of the BOE on how to make decisions. And that way it's a difference between nice to haves and what's you're legally required
Right.
to obtain, right? Because there's other than perceived practices or whether, going back and not just even in Nashua and my other districts too, there was always, we want to make sure that there's no nepotism going on, there's nothing nefarious, however, and that's a lot of words, but essentially at the end of the day, you're either accepting my recommendation or not, right? And so how do you, and you can say I'm not accepting the recommendation, I can come back next month with the same name, right? And say, this is my candidate of choice, and we can get it. So I think really for the next meeting, what is, again, the overview of the BOE, what's the Ed 306s and RSAs that are applicable, and then what are other conversations that are or other districts looking at, and then we can tweak it. Because I think there's a difference between what goes down on a piece of paper and then someone's story,
Right.
right? And are we interviewing 80 teachers to hear their stories, or is that a written narrative from an interview committee? And that might be a nice to have, but, out of efficiency, I don't know if every interview committee is writing a narrative on the candidate of choice for your reading.
No, I mean, certainly not. I mean, I think that, as I said earlier, having the assistant principals and above, because they have a more public-facing role, interviewing them here is more about introducing them to the community, I think. Not that, I don't think that our approval is a formality, but it kind of is, right? It feels more ceremonial than investigative. Does that make sense? But I don't know, like the 303s and the 302s say that the superintendent recommends and we approve.
And that's
Yeah,
it.
I think, not that I think, it's really just you need to approve the person and the salary is really what the approval is.
Right. And I can only think of one time in 8 years where we've said no to somebody. And that's hundreds of employees.
Mr. Johnson, do you want to add anything?
But that's why I was thinking we do, the date they start, their name, their position, and their salary.
Yeah, I think it's something we need to,
Because I feel like you guys need to have faith in us that we're hiring people that
absolutely.
have that certification. Otherwise, I won't even look at it and I'll just be like, all right, are they certified? Tell me if they're certified. Like,
right.
Sorry, will you continue to do the grid that says the degree and the degree that they're at? Because that tells us their step, right? And then also the school,
yep.
position number, all that stuff. Okay.
I may be alone in this, but I actually like to see who interviewed the person because I know, having been on the board for 6 years now and having worked in 3 of the schools here, I like to see that if we're hiring a chemistry teacher, that one of the chemistry people was actually interviewing when possible, or if we're hiring a new school psychologist.
So
It would be
just
great for me to know that a psychologist was part of the interview team.
Yep, and I get that. But would you not approve somebody because a chemistry teacher wasn't on that interview?
No.
So then to me, that's not relevant for this file.
The question, could it be something generic where the interviewers were a teacher, a principal, and a, someone, and
I think that is what we typically do
Right.
anyways. And I think you
Right.
see that on all of them right now.
And I think just the other caution is, in the past, we put down the name of other applicants, and I don't think that's.
No, yeah, I
we
think
don't
we
need
don't think
that.
that's necessary.
We only need to know about the
If there
person
was
that you're
more-
recommending.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very concerned about maintaining the privacy of people who apply for jobs and people who get jobs, and you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I know we only published the chart, but back when we had paper, I used to burn it all because I was worried that it would get out there with
That tells me you
somebody's
guys are getting
address
too
or
much
something.
information, is what that tells me. So it sounds
I
like
didn't want one of
we
my
can.
kids to use it as scrap paper or something.
So it sounds like we're agreeing on kind of 5 main things, which is the date, the name, the position, the degree, and salary. It's kind of what we're.
Right, I don't think we need to know when with the
And we could
date
even
of the posting expired.
And we could even add what kind of plan they're on, whether they're beginner educator,
I was gonna
experienced
say. We'd like to know
educator,
that,
all
yeah.
plan. We could add that as well.
Yeah.
I'd like to
that'd
know
be good.
that.
yeah.
But we certainly don't need to know the date the posting expired, because sometimes I believe we've hired people after the posting expired because we didn't get candidates that we really liked before the posting.
Right.
Is that even a thing anymore? I feel like there was a time when it was you have to post it internally for this many days and then externally for this many days. And you
Yeah,
have to
that's still part of
interview-
the contract.
Okay. But if the posting, do they expire, or do we just leave them up until we find someone?
They stay up until we find someone. It
Or,
expires
take it down
the
and then
contractual.
repost it?
The contractual obligation expired is what the expiration date would be.
Okay. Have we ever had any grievances about hiring somebody from without when there's someone within? I can't think of one that's made it to the board level recently. Dr. Andre's telling me that we can't talk about that in public
It wasn't a teacher.
with his face. All right.
Is there anything else that we want to discuss tonight? So you're going to come back to us before the next meeting, you'll send us a draft of what you think is going to be the final product for us to vote on.
And then hopefully I have a ton of candidates for the new draft system that we have for
Yeah, hopefully, I
for
mean,
next board meeting.
I remember applying when I was going to be a long-term sub in this, and it took me a really long time to apply to be hired here. And so that's why I ran for the board instead. It was much easier.
Awesome, that's all I really had for that, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else have anything? Because if there's nothing else for this particular committee, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
Oh, I'll move to adjourn.
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are now adjourned at 6:04.
Yep. All right.